Going through immigration process is one of the most stressful thing I've been through in my 20s, like big time. Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gail. I'm a registered nurse, a family nurse practitioner, and a nurse educator. Yes, I teach nursing for a living. It sounds kind of crazy, but yes, I do. But in this channel, I also talk about immigration. I like to explain my process, to talk about how I went from being an F1 student in the US to holding a 10-year green card. So I talk all about immigration in my perspective. Just a disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I like to just share my experience with you guys because I know I always receive many questions about the immigration process in the US. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But beside immigration, I also talk about, I record about lifestyle. I have a baby girl. She's 10 months now. So I talk about mommy stuff and just everything. So in this video, we'll be talking about immigration. I will be sharing with you how to find employer that can sponsor you so you can stay longer in the US. If you ready? Just stay tuned. All right. Just as a background, I came to the US in 2012 as an F1 student. My first year of being in the US, I was a student learning English. My first language is French. So I was learning English for a year. Then I applied to college in fall 2020, in fall 2013, nursing degree. I started the English school in fall 2012 all the way until fall 2013, and that's when I started nursing school, right? So after during nursing school, I didn't really hear much about sponsorship. No, I was surrounded by international students, but we are now really talking about sponsorship, right? And then I was naive, I was young, I wasn't really thinking about staying in the U.S., right? So that was my 4 years of nursing degree. The things started to change really in my last year of nursing school when I was faced with the option to either apply for OPT or furthering my nursing education. I remember thinking to myself, well, looks like I only have two options or three to go back home. And I just realized how limited I was as international students. Like, well, so this means that after that 1 year of OPT mark, I actually have to go back home. And I did nursing. I don't know where you're watching me from, but in Africa, in Congo, nursing or nurses are not really paid that much. So I was left with a dilemma of trying to find a sponsor here in the US. And my go to was to find an employer that will actually sponsor me for a green card. Um, more so for H1B visa because I wasn't aware that I could actually go from F1 to green card. So here's how my process went. In my last semester of nursing school, I actually intentionally started looking for job that would sponsor me. So I'll go on Google literally and type job, RN job, like registered nurse jobs that sponsor or sponsor F1, stuff like that. And there's agencies that showed up in my list, and I actually talked to two of them, and I can tell you they're legit. If you like to know those two top agencies that actually sponsor that they're legit, just comment down below agency, and I'll make sure to send you a DM or to respond to your comment. But anyway, I've talked to those two agencies. The first one, they asked me to finish my schooling, of course, because as I said that I contacted them in my last semester, so I wasn't quite done with nursing school. So the first agency asked me to complete my study, pass the NCLEX, then contact them back. The second agency showed interest right away. They asked me for my I-20, like everything they needed to start the process for sponsorship. I was like, what? So that was great, and they could also place me in the city where I was before, so that was a plus. Because keep in mind that those agency works with hospital, and some of them they're only located in the east side or in the east coast, on the west coast. So they, if for instance you are located in Texas, and then you find an agency that only plays in California, they might ask you to move to California, but yet they'll still sponsor you, but they'll ask you to have to relocate to California. And some of those agencies actually don't want to talk to, they're actually willing to pay for the travel and relocation expenses for you. And I heard that they could pay for your rent, and then I think you're just gonna have to pay it back when once you start working for them. For people out there, looking for sponsorship, and you are nurses, there are actually agencies that can help you relocate to places that need help, and shift there are guaranteed. Because keep in mind that most of those agencies work with hospitals, right, or nursing homes, so they place you based on the needs of those facilities. So one complaint I've heard is that they will sponsor you in one hospital, but then you find yourself not having shifts because you know they it's low census, and then if you don't have a shift, you don't have a job, then you don't get paid. That's one of the complaints that was out there, but that was before COVID. Now most I can tell you 100%, most of those hospitals or nursing homes are short staffed and they need people. So when you get sponsored, there won't be 1 week where you get canceled because of low census. Shift nowadays for nurses are guaranteed 100%. So don't be afraid if that's one of the options you are looking for. Again, the first agency just asked me to finish my studies and pass my NCLEX, then contact them back. The second agency showed interest right away, and I was actually drawn by them because I'm like, oh, I need sponsorship right away, and they show interest. Well, we work with them. So that's the agency I went on with. That's the agency I work with. I legit don't have any issue with that agency. I have only good stuff, and I'm really grateful to them for even considering me. I felt like I was desperate. It was my last semester of nursing school, and I knew with my nursing degree I couldn't go back in Africa to work. I mean, for how much? For the amount of money you spend for your education here in the US, I don't think you can be compensated enough when you're working, in my country as a nurse. So just going back to work as a nurse was an option for me. So I was really glad and thankful that I was getting sponsored. Okay, so one thing I just want to say in regard to this video is when my agency sponsored me, I wasn't even working for them yet. And it's through them that I found out that I could actually get a green card and not a H-1B visa. I was like, what? You mean to tell me that I'm switching from F1 to 10-year green card just like that? I was excited. I was like, oh yes, I'm going. Everybody got excited. So I went on with them and just started the process with them. And so that's if you take the agency route. Another route you can take to get your sponsorship is to actually just apply to a random job in a hospital near you or nursing home. And then once you in there, trying to talk to your unit manager or your DON. One common mistake I see people do is when you apply for a job, when they ask you about if you would like to get sponsored, you say yes during the application process. That's a big mistake. Do not do this mistake. Do not let your employer know that you will need sponsorship, because HR will block it right there. HR will block your application right there. Wait until you inside, you have your OPT. So that will require your OPT because you need something to show that you can work legally in the US. get your OPT, apply for a random job as a registered nurse. Then inside a month, 2 months after you've done orientation and you can actually show that they can trust you, 3 months in, start talking to your employer, your manager about getting sponsorship. Most of those hospitals, nursing home that you see actually sponsor. And the thing is, those managers are not even familiar with the process themselves. They don't really see those cases that much. They used to deal with American citizens, so they're not really familiar with this process. However, it doesn't mean because the manager doesn't know about the process that the hospital or the nursing home doesn't sponsor. They actually do. It was the case with my friend where she already had a job in this particular nursing home, and then she needed sponsorship, so she found this agency, actually the agency that I use, that was willing to sponsor her. And for that she had to move to California, but she didn't want to because she already had a family where she was. She went ahead and prayed about it and went to talk to a manager at the time in the nursing home, and the manager was like, "Well, girl, you don't have to go to California. We can actually sponsor you here." So that was one case I encountered. So manager may not tell you, "Hey, we can sponsor you," but once you talk to them, they might even refer you to a lawyer that knows best about this process. So don't be discouraged and just try it. I have another friend, she's a PA. I'm so, so, so happy for her. She just got a PA license. She applied for this hospital job. She got a job. She was so excited to be an hospitalist. Her OPT time was ticking, right? She had to do something. So she went down and talked to a manager. Then she was referred to this and HR and this. And then in the very, very last minute, she got sponsored. And when she applied, she didn't mention that she needed sponsorship. However, I think they even told her that the hospital couldn't sponsor anybody. In the process of her asking people about the sponsorship process in the hospital, she was even told that, "Oh no, this facility don't doesn't sponsor." Like what? You know. But she kept trying. She talked to HR. I think she was referred to a lawyer as well. And then she found out that they could actually sponsor her. And the good thing with her is she was already working for them for over a year. So she was there for a year working for them, proving them that she was worth to be kept there. So when the time came for her to ask for sponsorship, they could actually back it up and see, yeah, oh, we need her to stay. That's how she got sponsored and actually got a green card as well. So do not be afraid to actually ask your employer if they sponsor, but please do not put down in your application process that you require sponsorship, because that will be a roadblock for you. HR will just block you. HR will not even continue with you. I really hope all this information about finding employer to sponsor you for your green card or H1B visa was helpful, and I really hope that you get sponsored, because I know the struggle of not having that green card or H1B visa. And I know that is you just don't feel secure. You feel like you're walking on eggshell. So I know that feeling has been there. So I really hope that this video was helpful for you or one of you or even your family member going through immigration process. You can send them this video if they're in healthcare or not, because this video is not just for people in healthcare. You can literally apply this process in different areas. Do not mention that you want sponsorship in your application process, because HR will block your application. You won't even get interviewed. Make sure that you stay tuned. Make sure that you subscribe again. And in this channel, I talk about immigration, nursing, lifestyle, everything in between. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.